From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Carbon County is underwater. Evacuation orders are in place. Roads and bridges in and around Red Lodge are washing out by the hour as Rock Creek reaches historically high levels this morning, breaching riverbanks, flooding everything in its path. Flood warnings remain in place on almost every body of water in the county, including the Clarks Fork of the Yellowstone River until early Wednesday morning. Good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning. I'm Diane Parker. That's Miller Robson over there. And Miller, it is a scary situation out there along the creeks and rivers. I know you've been monitoring this all morning. What do folks need to know to just really stay safe out there?
Yeah, first things first, turn around, don't drown. If you come up on a roadway heading into work or wherever you may be going today and the road's covered, do not try to drive through it. It may look calm on the surface, but you have no idea what's floating below that, so you might have to find an alternate route. I know it may be a pain this morning with your commute, but you want to err on the side of caution. Definitely some ponding on the roads out there, very slick roads out there. Flooding along the Yellowstone River here in Billings. We could see some flooding the next couple of days. So if you have an area like a subdivision around the Yellowstone, you might want to use caution with that. Burn scar areas, including the Robertson Draw. Watch out for flooding there, flash flooding, debris flow all the way through this evening as well. So we're not out of the woods yet. There's a live look at the Doppler radar right now. You can see a lot of moisture still in the area. This is what it looked like over the weekend, that flow coming from west to east where we had some really nasty thunderstorms. And this just shows you, there's the storm reports that we had Saturday and Sunday around the area. We're going to show you some photos. Still have a chance to see some severe weather down to the southeast. And then we get hot. So a lot of stuff to unpack with the main forecast, and we'll do that coming up.
All right. Thanks a lot for keeping us posted and keeping us safe out there. Thanks, Miller. All right, well, this just in, Highway 308 is now closed. It comes as new evacuation orders are coming in seemingly every hour. This is a quick snapshot, but some information could be missing as this situation continues to develop. We also want to let viewers know sandbags are available at any of the Carbon County shops, including locations in Joliet, Bridger, and Red Lodge. Fromberg residents can call Fromberg Public Works for sand, and road closures include portions of Highway 212. Both bridges on East Side Road are washed out. A shelter is set up at the Gruel Building at the Carbon County Fairgrounds, as well as at the Red Lodge Community Church. You can stay up to date on all the evacuations and closures by contacting the Carbon Alert Hotline. That's 406-426-2425. The House Select Committee investigating the January 6 riots begins its second day of hearings later this morning. It is expected to focus on allegations former President Donald Trump spread falsehoods about a stolen election. CBS's Nick Calloway has more.
The January 6th Select Committee is ready for round 2 of hearings looking into the attack on the U.S. Capitol. Panel members say they found enough evidence for the Justice Department to weigh a potential unprecedented criminal indictment against former President Trump for trying to overturn the 2020 election results.
Ultimately, once the evidence is accumulated by the Justice Department, it needs to make a decision about whether it can prove to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt the president's guilt or anyone else's. But they need to be investigated if there's credible evidence, which I think there is.
Representative Adam Kinzinger, one of 2 Republicans on the 9-member panel, says the hearings should serve as a warning.
If we have people in power, whether it's in politics or law enforcement or the military, if we have any people that are unwilling to put their oath above any loyalty to a person, no law matters.
The hearings, which are expected to run through June, kicked off in prime time on Thursday.
January 6th was the culmination of an attempted coup.
A Capitol police officer who suffered a concussion in the deadly riot called it a war scene.
It was carnage. It was chaos.
President Trump's 2020 campaign manager, Bill Stepien, is among those scheduled to testify as the panel focuses today's hearing on Mr. Trump's efforts to spread unsubstantiated claims of election fraud. Nick Calloway, CBS News, New York.
In March, a federal judge in California said in a ruling in a civil case that Mr. Trump more likely than not committed federal crimes in seeking to obstruct the congressional count of the Electoral College ballots on January 6th. The former president has denied all wrongdoing. The price of gas continues inching closer to $5 a gallon here in Montana, reaching $4.90 on average today. Nationwide, the average sits at $5.01. It costs the most in San Francisco at $6.55 a gallon, and the lowest average is Baton Rouge, Louisiana at $4.43. At this time last year, the nationwide average was just $3.07. And now we go to Ukraine, where fighting rages on in the country's eastern Donbas region. Ukrainian forces are outgunned, trying to hold off the Russian advance. As CBS's Chris Livesay reports, the Russians are also using food as a weapon.
Wheat fields don't just define Ukraine's landscape, they define Ukraine's flag. Now Russia is attacking them with a medieval cruelty, desolating crops with incendiary bombs, insulting the earth left behind. With nearly half of Ukraine struggling to find enough food, farmers are Ukraine's lifeline, risking getting blown off their tractors by Russian rockets. That's what happened to Sergei, just out of surgery in the southern city of Mykolaiv. Shrapnel tore through his lung, liver, and narrowly missed his heart. For attacking civilians, he says, they're bastards. In the same city, Russian artillery destroyed these grain silos. Farmers say it's the same tactic of the infamous 1933 famine, when Stalin starved millions of Ukrainians by cutting off their food. This time, it's also the world's food. More than 20 million tons of grain, destined for the developing world, remain trapped in Ukrainian ports by Russia's naval blockade.
In other words, quite simply put, it's blackmail.
Blackmailing the West to give up its support of Ukraine. Its forces are now locked in close-quarter street fights in the city of Severodonetsk. Lose it, and they lose the region of Luhansk, a critical domino these soldiers can't afford to let fall.
Another 200,000 pounds of baby formula is coming to the U.S. Australia reached an agreement with Albertsons and Kroger to import more formula as part of President Biden's Operation Fly formula. It will equal the amount the U.S. already received within the last month and could be on store shelves by early next week. On the heels of last week's recreational marijuana vote here in Yellowstone County, we're learning more about the challenges marijuana dispensary owners face. Many banks won't accept their money until it's legal nationwide. As reporter Joe St. George tells us, some changes could be coming soon to help licensed marijuana sellers get by.
They shot and hit me with a ricochet, but it went through the bottom of my foot.
All Joshua Chase wanted to do was have a smooth, grand opening of his new cannabis dispensary in Oakland, California.
Where did they shoot from? That direction.
Instead, he got shot, victimized by burglars, seeing a marijuana shop as a perfect opportunity to steal some cash.
How's your foot doing today? I got the stitches out. Honestly, it's just a bone. They broke a bone.
This happened 7 weeks ago, and to some degree, he wasn't surprised by it.
This is just what you sign up for being in the cannabis industry. This is just what comes with the business when we don't have banking.
What's this lack of banking Josh is talking about? Well, when typical businesses receive cash, they can easily take the money to a nearby bank and deposit it. That's not the case with marijuana dispensaries. Because marijuana is still illegal at the federal level, most federally insured banks don't accept deposits from marijuana businesses. That means many dispensaries have a lot of cash on hand until they can take it to specialized institutions. For the same legal reasons, most cannot accept credit cards either. In Washington state, in January and February of this year, there were 50 armed robberies of dispensaries.
Just if we were able to have a banking system that was open, it would not only make it a safer environment for us, it would make it more efficient for us.
This is not a new debate. In fact, I've been covering the intersection of marijuana, politics, and banking since 2015 when I started reporting on marijuana in Denver. So why am I doing another story on banks and weed? Well, some in Congress believe this summer, real change could happen.
That change could come from what's known as the Safe Banking Act, which would allow dispensaries access to federally insured banks in states where cannabis is legal.
Modernizing our banking laws so that the cannabis industry isn't operating in the all-cash darkness.
Last month, lawmakers debated including the Safe Banking Act and the Bipartisan Innovation Act, which is meant to fund science, computer chips, and more. That legislation just might be one of the last major bills Congress passes before the election.
Thank God it wasn't something more serious.
As for Josh, all he can do, stay optimistic.
You're a tough guy, but were you scared?
No.
In Oakland, California, I'm Joe St. George.
In Idaho, a group of suspected white supremacists wearing riot gear was arrested near a Pride event in Coeur d'Alene. The police chief says the dozens arrested on misdemeanor conspiracy charges appear to be members of the hate group Patriot Front. One of the men was also a co-leader of the deadly 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. Idaho's Governor Brad Little released a statement praising law enforcement, adding intimidation, scare tactics, and violence have no place in our great state. A Hardin mother is searching for answers this morning after her son was beaten to death on the steps of the Hardin Public Library. Daryls Death III was killed back in April, but so far no arrests have been made. Q2's Alina Howder has more.
He was really intelligent. He was very, very smart and really quick-witted, and he could always make us laugh.
He was always there all the time. If I was afraid, you know, I would have him there and he would help me.
Daryls Death was only 33 years old when he was assaulted while sleeping on the steps of the Hardin Public Library.
Somebody just came up and they have their landscaping. They have some big old boulders, and they took one of those and smashed in his head.
Daryl was found by a librarian unconscious. Paramedics flew him to Billings to try to save his life.
So by the time we got here, they already took us to the family room and brought the chaplain, so I knew something was wrong.
The damage done to his head was so severe, there was no brain activity left.
They did all the tests, and they couldn't find any activity, so they declared the time of death.
Daryl passed away 2 days later on April 28th. He struggled with alcohol addiction and was living on the streets when he was assaulted.
I just almost felt like they didn't want to help him because of the lifestyle he was in.
Daryl's family is frustrated by what they say is a lack of answers from the Bighorn County Sheriff's Department, and that his death hasn't gotten more public attention.
I can't seem to talk to the detective. I don't know if it's just because he's busy. I'm trying to give people the benefit of the doubt, but we're already over a month out, and I don't know anything.
We spoke to the Bighorn County Sheriff. He was unable to provide more details, saying the case is under investigation. The detective on the case didn't return our calls. The family held a vigil in Hardin last Tuesday to raise awareness about Daryl's death.
People spoke about Daryl and shared memories and just everything they admired about him. He meant everything to me.
I just want people to know, and especially the people that are out there on the streets. I don't want that to happen to anybody else. I want justice for him, and I want people to know that his life mattered.
In Billings, Alina Howder, MTN News.
And before we take a break, it is time to introduce you to this month's waiting child. Morgan is a computer-loving teen with big dreams.
This month, we're in Great Falls to meet a young man named Morgan. He's an honor roll student who loves being around others.
Some of my favorite hobbies are video games. I really enjoy photography, some videography.
He's a bright young man. He's been taking college classes his junior year, and next year he'll be a senior. We're really hoping that we can find a family that is willing to accept Morgan and just be very supportive for him.
I think a good family is the kind of family that's able to communicate with each other, understand each other despite their differences, despite saying things that don't really make sense on the surface.
With Morgan's love for computers, he hopes to someday find a career in the tech field.
If a potential family were to decide that they'd like to take me in or would like to look at taking me in, I think probably just like the first thing I would say is just thank you so much for even just thinking about it. And it just means a lot to even feel like we mean something to somebody.
And you can learn about fostering and adoption by calling 1-866-9-FOSTER.